Hi guys, it's Kyle. Welcome back to the next video in the For Honor build. We're taking on the Pauldrons, or shoulder pieces. As you see here, I have 3 templates lined out, but when actually you go to do the shoulder pieces yourself, there are 4. Due to at this time of the video, I had to use one of the templates to fabricate the last trim piece for that shoulder pauldron. Depending on how you guys want to do your piece, I did 5 pieces for one shoulder of the smaller foam sections, and a different middle piece for each shoulder. Depending on how you guys want to do this, this is a really good base for you to either add to it or just take it from there. Once again, once you figured out how many pieces you want per shoulder or how you want to do it yourself, I use a pen to trace out my foam onto the floor mats I just got from the dollar store, and then once again using scissors to cut them out. Depending on the size of your foam, you may have to use an X-Acto knife to cut it. As you see here, I'm just drawing on the inside a centimeter or 1/4 of an inch in for those who use a different measuring system, another line inwards. This will be where we will be using the Dremel to carve in a little bit, not all the way through. That way it gives it a little bit of a trim effect. And right now I'm just cleaning up the edges of my foam to make it a little bit more authentic. That way it looks better once we get to painting. As you can see here, I'm just carving and using the edge of my sanding bit to try and get the trim piece. Make sure you do it on a slow speed, because when it's on a higher one for your Dremel setting, it's a little bit harder to control, and you can go over this much slowly and have it be a lot cleaner looking. But for the sake and purposes of this video, I'm just showing you how it is. You can add bowel damage for whatever means, where it's using a sanding bit, hot knife, X-Acto blades, whatever you have on hand. Make sure you try not to go all the way through, because once we heat seal the gun, those pores will close and the seam lines or cut lines from your bowel damage will open up more. So right now, just using the heat gun on this piece, it'll help. The reason I use heat gun to heat seal my prop is to close up the pores, which make it easier for painting, as well as I can bend the piece that's been heated around my body area to help conform it to that shape. When you are heat forming, or heat sealing I should say, your foam, make sure you overdo the folding just a little bit, because it will retract a little bit back to its normal shape. And just here I'm showing you the difference between a unheat sealed piece and a piece that's been heat sealed. Once you heat seal it as well, any cuts or grooves or trim edges we've done into the foam will become more prominent. Afterwards, I'm just using googly eyes as rivets. You can use beads of hot glue, but make sure you're doing it on a flat surface so that even though your piece is rounded, it doesn't roll down the foam. As you can see on screen, I'm just laying out the layout for my pieces for my one shoulder. You may feel that you need to add additional smaller pieces to get the length that you're looking for you, or you can make a different arrangement depending on how you want. Also, I'm just using black webbing to attach my pieces. Depending on the length of how you want to go on your arm will affect the overlap of each piece. If you feel that is not long enough, you may need to make another piece or have a very minimal overlap of each piece. That way you get the desired look you're going for. Off camera you can't see this, but I am just hot gluing black webbing, putting it in place of where I want it to be set, and then just attaching it to my foam piece. Once you are satisfied of the location of where your black webbing is, make sure you just run a few bit more globs of hot glue over that end piece of where it was connected on the foam, just like the connection points. That way it helps secure it from it ever possibly coming off. Here I'm just showing you pulling that. It's pretty sturdy on its own, but I would add those bits of hot glue over the end connection pieces. Now this top piece might be a little bit more difficult, because it will be resting on your shoulder and kind of towards your clavicle or towards your head. That's blue piece that's of mine, both blue pieces I should say. Finicky around with it, I have it so those pieces of the black webbing do allow for a little bit of slack and movement to make it more conforming to the person's body or mine, for example. But once you figure it out, just attach some black webbing to the pieces, glue it down, make sure you can have it all set, and then I'll just show you the final layout of the piece, which is just all the pieces assembled together and attached by black webbing. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the For Honor build of the shoulder and pauldrons. Next I will have the gauntlets, kneecaps, and elbow pieces, which are pretty simple, but they do give you a lot of room to add your own design. Take this from here. It's just a good base for whoever to make their own knight, larb, historical fantasy piece. Other than that, I'm signing off. This has been Kyle. Bye.